Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, hooligan shills, desolate stars, peasants, vassals, frackers. I'm a useful idiot, and today I'd like to talk about fracking. And of course, everybody knows about fracking now, and it's an old topic. But a lot of things are happening in the world today that concern fracking, and some are known and some aren't known. And I'm going to go into that more a little later. First, I want to just go over some of the basics about fracking, so everybody knows all the basics, because there's a lot of information out there. It's hard to get everything on one page and get this in perspective. So let's rope in all the basic details about fracking. So fracking, of course, is hydraulic fracturing. That's where millions of gallons of water are mixed with sand and chemicals and then blasted into the bedrock. And this is done at a slant. Drilling is then done at a slant through the shale, and this releases the gas. And so we can extract natural gas from shale deposits almost a mile down. So the big picture, of course, is that for some this is energy dreams come true, and for others it's an environmental nightmare. And unfortunately, as often is the case, it is both. So right now in the United States, Texas and Pennsylvania have been the biggest markets for this new fracking technology, and no surprise there. Texas and Pennsylvania were the grounds for the original oil industry in the United States, so it's not surprising that they would take advantage of this new fracking technology. We also have it in North Dakota, Arkansas, California, Colorado, and New Mexico now, and they're trying to get it into New York, North Carolina, Maryland, and Illinois. And of course, there's a lot of controversy about this. New York has put fracking on hold because they've seen some of the results, and we've all seen the results. And what happens when you cut through these aquifers and put all these chemicals and water into the soil and into the ground and into the bedrock? So what are the hazards with fracking? Well, it creates significant emissions, and now there's studies coming out showing various forms of air pollution and carbon emissions around fracking sites. And then we have contaminated drinking water, and we've seen that, of course, the documentary Gasland about drinking water in Pennsylvania that can light on fire now because it has so much methane in it. Then we have industrial wastelands. Each well takes up about 9 acres, and the damage done is irreparable. And then, of course, earthquakes. There's no doubt right now, despite denials of the industry, that all these ripples of earthquakes through Arkansas and places like that are caused by fracking. And no surprise. I mean, what happens to the bedrock when you remove all the gas and water? When you extract that, certainly there's going to be some adjustment, and so we're having earthquakes. And one of the other problems with fracking is it is exempt from Safe Drinking Water Act. It's exempt from the Clean Water Act. It's exempt from the Clean Air Act. It's exempt from the Resource Conservation Recovery Act. So there's not that many regulations covering it right now. And as usual, they use semantic loopholes to get around regulation. And the argument overall, and that's why fracking is spreading so quick, is that it's provided this cheap natural gas and jobs. And of course, that's what everybody wants: more oil and more jobs. So this technology is spreading across the globe. And one of the pitfalls, of course, is that we're finding that cheap natural gas has gotten so cheap that it's destroying competition from wind and solar. So just when we need to develop alternative energy sources like wind and solar, cheap natural gas is taking all the investment and profit out of the wind and solar industry, and that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so much collapse in that sector. But unfortunately, what's going to happen is at some point the natural gas boom will be over, and then we'll be left with wind and solar to be redeveloped yet again, as well as the fact that these communities are left holding the bag, just as a lot of places all over the United States were left holding the bag when the mining industry withdrew. Pennsylvania alone still owes $5 billion for cleanup of mining sites And so anyway, there's a potential for people to be stuck with that. In fact, insurance companies are hesitant to insure for fracking damage. So a lot of insurance companies are refusing to cover fracking damage. So they know what's going on. They know something about it. And of course, one of the other issues that comes up is the water rights, because these fracking industry feel like they should have free access, just like property owners anywhere, free access to all the fresh water that they can extract and then use it in this fracking process. And unfortunately, uses millions and millions and millions of gallons. So that's going to be a problem too in a world that's already short of fresh water. We're going to have to compete with the fracking industry for fresh water. And so anyway, there's some basics about fracking, and the reason why I'm bringing it up as promised is in the big picture, this is spreading very rapidly, and the technology is not completely understood, and a lot of the hazards that it spreads are not well understood, not well studied, and are being denied by the industry, and yet we have this technology spreading across the globe. So England is now investigating doing fracking, and of course all through Northern Europe and Eastern Europe. So we have fracking being set up in Ukraine now, and most recently Ireland is going to allow fracking in their country. So everybody wants a piece of the pie. They want the jobs, they want the cheap energy, and of course a lot of them are interested because you can export it. So potentially you can make their exports go up as well. Because the United States is finding itself in a position where we produce so much natural gas through this technology now that they're eyeing profits by exporting it overseas. And that's where China comes in. That's the big deal to me, is the fact that the Obama administration is putting up $400,000 grant to the industry to set up fracking in China. And of course, China is so untapped. It could be a huge powerhouse, and they don't have any concerns with environmental regulations and the like, so they could have a booming industry. And of course, all the Western companies want to get in on it, because not only is fracking profitable, but selling and equipping and training the other countries in fracking technology is also very lucrative. And so it begs the question, why does the Obama administration need to give such a profitable and thriving industry a $400,000 grant to essentially set up this technology to create more profits for them in China? But they will export U.S. shale gas practices, policies, and technologies, and so they'll make money off of that. And then the fracking technology will be spreading across Asia. So we will see what this will unleash in the end run. This could potentially be a lot more toxic than anything that happened with the oil industry and the resultant oil spills and the like. Now we're going to have carbon emissions, pollution, air pollution, earthquake, industrial wastelands, and drinking water that you can light on fire. And now it's going to be all over the globe. Nice. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.